Hello all, nice to see you here again. And today we have a very distinguished guest, and I'm really excited more than you, by the way, because I have seen the content before. Even I will revise my application thanks to this presentation. So please be aware of the content. I'm super grateful for our guest speaker, Özlem Sökmen and Şebnem Gürol, for being here with us. And especially the director, Özlem Sökmen, she has a very diverse experience in very different field as far as I perceived. I mean, I've seen at least on LinkedIn as well. And we were always discussing about somebody who has an experience in very different field and who observed many different participants. So I really believe her experience will shed light in our mind as well. And I just going to be here and going to watch her as well. And she, at the end of it, they are both, thanks to Şebnem Hanım as well, they are going to both try to do the competency-based sort of a simulation interview, let's say. That those are the questions, if you've seen, I've recently, like 1 hour ago, I shared with you. But as I said, they are all volunteer questions. So now, yeah, okay, I don't want to talk more. So, stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Yasemin, for inviting us. And thank you all for joining. It's a Friday and in the afternoon. So, yeah, many thanks for making the effort. So my name is Özlem Sökmen, and currently I'm the HR director of the company, Novartis. You probably maybe heard of it amongst the pharmaceuticals. So, but I mean, today I'm not here with my title with Novartis. Today I'm here. I mean, just accept me as someone who has a lot of interview experience in many companies. So I just amongst these all years, I see that there's a pattern. There's a pattern in the definition of, let's say, success in the companies. And I would probably say it's called values and behaviors. So right, just 5 minutes ago we were discussing with Yasemin. So I just also told her, like, you know what? I remember, unfortunately, being in HR, you hire a lot of people, but unfortunately, you have to let go a lot of people as well. Like, I've been in HR like probably 30 years, 30. So yeah, we had to shake hands with some of the people. I mean, either they left by themselves or we had to let them go. But the formula is really values and behavior. So I never had to let someone go just because of a lack of a technical skill. Like, it didn't happen. Like, it's not like, hey, Shebnam, your technical skills on this should be 10, while yours is 8. Sorry, we won't be able to work with you. That doesn't happen. It's always the behavior, because technical skill is always easier to assess. It's very easier to assess, especially nowadays. But the values and behaviors and character is very difficult to assess. So, and unfortunately, this is this important topic, let's say, is underestimated in the schools, in high school, in universities, well, in job places as well. When you hire someone, you expect that the values and behaviors are there, but especially the new grads, they they don't know much about that. So hopefully I will give a bit of information about how to also put forward these values and behaviors during an interview as well. Shebnem, would you like to say a few words about it? Shebnem is working, we're working together in Novartis. So she is, by background, I just have to say, a psychologist. And she's, especially if we're talking about competence-based interviews, she's more excited than me, always. So over to you, Shebnem, for an
Hi,
introduction.
thank you so much. Hi everyone, I'm Shebnem. I've been with Novartis for only 1 year. Before that, I had some experience, of course, nothing compared to Özlem Hanım, but some in technology and production sectors. And my, I would say, passion especially lies within HR. Of course, there are different things, but I would say it's more about talent acquisition and especially acquiring young potential students and candidates and new graduates. And I really like designing the programs that we create with them and recruiting for these programs. So it's really beautiful. It feels great to be here today. Thank you very much
Yeah,
for
thank you.
making it happen.
And maybe if you are wondering what that means here at the background, it's a Turkish word for the ones who doesn't speak Turkish. It means possible with you. And it is the name of a new project that we have just started in Novartis. And it's all about the soft skills. It's all about the values and behaviors. Unfortunately, the program language will be in Turkish. So if you are interested, or Turkish speaking students, I mean, if you are interested, you are happy to, you can apply for this program. We are going to accept 100 university students from Istanbul and near cities of Istanbul, and the program is going to last for 8 months. And it's all about values and behaviors and knowing oneself, self-awareness, what is our strength, what is our weaknesses, and lots and lots of good content about a transition to work life, which also includes a mentoring with great professionals as well. So just a bit of advertisement about the program. And let's hop into the content then. I'm going to just share my screen. And so while I'm presenting, probably I won't be able to see any questions or hands. And if there is, please just, put the mics on, just shoot the question or stop me, okay? So I don't mind the disturbance and the questions, because I'm here for you and for your questions. So, okay, let's go. I'm just going to give you some tips and tricks. Really, it's not really a training, but a tips and tricks about the resume preparation and interview skills. So first of all, first things first, what to do before the interview. And obviously, the resume preparation is that. So while we are preparing the resume, the one thing you have to think about is that when you read your resume, what do you think about that resume? Because it's very important that a resume should speak for itself. The one thing is never ever leave it for interpretation of the interviewer, because I think in years time, this is one of the mistakes that I see. So people put all the information about themselves, especially the younger people, because sometimes they don't know which direction to go. They put a lot of information and they leave it for the interpretation. So they leave it like, whatever, job opening in your company that suits me also suits me. But, that doesn't work like that. So it's very important that you build the resume according to the position that you are applying for. This is number one rule. So what do I mean for that? Let's say if you are doing double majors, for instance, or you started working, or you have some what's it called, internships, but different internships. So you did, let's say, an internship on sales, and you did an internship on marketing, or you did double major, maybe it's economics and marketing. When you put it like that in the CV, then the interviewer might be confused. So that's why you have to shape it. Like you can say that, maybe a little bit of small explanation. You can say that, yeah, so I did an internship on sales, I did an internship on marketing, but then I decided that I would like to develop myself on marketing. So that's why I'm applying for this job, right? So this is rule number one. So therefore, one single version of a resume is not enough. So you should be prepared to have a couple of different versions before you apply for a job. Like, for instance, if you are applying for a sales job, make sure that you polish your sales experience. It could be the lessons that you took in the college. It could be your internships. It could be your extracurricular activities. Doesn't matter. So make them bigger in the CVs and the rest of them a little bit of less, or vice versa. If you're, applying for a marketing position, again, try to put forward all your experience in marketing, be the lessons, be the internships, so on and so forth. So this is sort of like rule number two. So I really like the CV. This is, I just wanted to put it as an example because less is more. Sometimes we put a lot of information about us, which the interviewer doesn't really need at all. Sometimes people put all the lessons that they take. Sometimes the people, put all the, how do I say, extracurricular activities they do, but you don't need to. So look at the CV. This CV belongs to the president and CEO of Yahoo, right? And she is a Stanford graduate. But if you look at the education bit, just 2 lines, right? So she says, I did my BC in symbolic systems in Stanford University, and I studied computer science as an MS in Stanford University. That's it. And then she starts to pile up the experience. Look at the experience. Not all of the experience have a detailed information, right? Some of them just one sentence, some of them no sentence at all, just an information. And the one of them has just 4 lines. So so I would like to share this. So think about that, right? Think about that. So what does that mean? I mean, her, I'll go back. I see some CVs where even the product engineer bit is as big as the president and CEO experience, by means of the lines that you put in a CV. I think the most important thing that I should tell you is you shouldn't be putting the job description here. Some people put what they did in this job like a job description. But the interviewer doesn't need that. The interviewer more or less knows what that job description is for that specific kind of job. The interviewer needs what you did in this job. Or if we're talking about school right now, we're talking about school, let's say, the lessons that you take, the interviewer doesn't need to know them all. The interviewer wants to know what have you accomplished in that lesson or in that club, career club or whatever club that you are a part of, maybe in the school. So why did you put that information here? Why do you want me to see that? Right? So bear in mind about that. If you let's go back to the right hand side of the CV, it's a little bit, I don't say that your CV has to look like that because we are not CEOs right now, okay? We're just students. It's very normal. But bear in mind, she is trying to give a message to the interviewer here. So what is she most proud of? So courage I had to take a sinking ship and making it float, right? So I think she's talking about Yahoo here. So persistence and loyalty. And she's also most proud of Google's growth. Where did she take the numbers from here to there? And also she's proud of inspiring women in tech. right? So also she's talking about, if you understand here, a little bit of also values and behaviors about herself as well. So it's very nice. If you look at the other one, I think this is also very unusual, but she says that how I spend my time. So the biggest portions, one of the biggest portions is like spending time with my children. So she says that don't think that I'm a technology geek, who's going to work, work, work only. No, sorry. My children is my priority, right? And so on and so forth. I'm not going to go through all of it, but just make a note, Marissa Meyer resume, Google it, and you can spend more time on that. So you don't. Sometimes I know that most of the students think that, I'm just a student. I don't have much experience. So therefore, I have to kind of like try to fill in my resume. You don't have to do that. The interviewer knows that you're just a student, or you're a new graduate. Maybe you have one or two internships, maybe you have a couple of extracurricular activities. We know that, everybody knows that, so don't worry about that. Okay, so if you know what I mean, up until now, everybody's searching for a character. It could be school admission, it could be job applications, investment decisions. Doesn't matter. Everybody's searching for a character. So you have to bear in mind how you put your character forward, in a job interview, or in a group interview, or in a case study that you do with a group. Doesn't matter, right? You know, what are we trying to see? What are we trying to understand, especially in group interviews or case studies, because most of the times, the students or the new graduates look at, I have to solve the case, and maybe I should be the one who solves it, the first. Maybe I should put myself forward, but, the people, the interviewers who are observing it are trying to see a couple of things. For example, who works harder in the group? You know, in your groups, I know that because I have a daughter. She's 22 years old, and she's a student at Koç University. So recently, we also had a chat about her about this. So she said they have an homework who. Just 5 of them are doing it, but she was so nervous because two of the students are not really paying attention to the homework, so they have to also work harder to do their parts and as well. And believe me, guys, within a group interview, we see these students like that as well. They kind of like lean on maybe other ones, for a different part of the case. So we see that. So who works harder? I mean, if there's a setback, who recovers faster than the other ones, right? Or maybe who can stay calm under pressure, or who can work better with others. And sometimes the opposite is also a matter of curiosity. Who breaks under pressure? Because some of them break under pressure. That's for sure. That's life. That's us. That's our character, right? And or sometimes who's really clueless about the group dynamics, so doesn't really get it, doesn't really get what this interview is all about. Why are we doing it with a group, right? Because I'm telling you guys, this is a simulation of the work life. That's what a group interview is all about. So I mean, if there's a guy who doesn't really care about anyone at all, we see that. So don't be one of them. That's what I'm trying to say. So here, don't don't the CV is in Turkish, but don't worry about that because it's not about the CV. It's about what? It's about the details. The potential for success actually lies in meaningful details. I know that the Google, who gets probably more than 75,000 applications per week, they say that they read the resume not from top to bottom, but from bottom to top, right? I'm reading, I'm saying this again, they don't read it from top to bottom, but from bottom to top. And what does that mean? What lies in the bottom of a CV? It's probably the hobbies, the extracurricular activities, right? And maybe you are doing a community service, this and that, right? And Google says that, you know what, guys, this is also very important for us because the the upper part of the CV is is for sure, a lot of kids, a lot of young people are graduating from great schools. They're taking great lessons, they're doing the internships and that and that. And we have a lot of them. We have a lot of them. What differentiates you is really the extracurricular activities. So that's why most of the companies start, reading the CVs from bottom to top. So, right. So it's very important that you also think about what are you most proud of, you know, what are your skills that you would like to, maybe share. Maybe there was a very nice Twitter post. Well, unfortunately, it was in Turkish, so I didn't put it, but it was very nice. So it says, what does that mean if I don't put the information of myself selling necklaces when I was in primary school in my neighborhood? So that was exactly what the post was about, and I actually responded and replied to her like, I mean, it would be a pity if you don't mention, because that it says something about you. It says something about your personality, or maybe entrepreneurship. I don't know, but I mean, you can mention, you know, the things that you probably think about yourself, and maybe you think that, nah, I shouldn't be putting this in a CV. That doesn't look professional. Think about them again. Think about them again. Don't really underestimate the extracurricular activities that you are doing. It says a lot about you. What doesn't say really a lot about you is really the career objective. And sometimes, people put it as a one pager, like, me and my, super skills wish to do this in a 5 years time, and I wish to do it in your company, sort of letters. That really doesn't really interest the recruiters. Sorry, not sorry. Because number one reason is that they are very cliche. They look very much to each other. They're not very realistic. The only, um, let's say, exception that you can put a few words about the career objective is this, just very simple information. Maybe your address looks another city, and let's say the job is in another city, then you can put a small information about like that. So it may look like that my house is in, let's say, in Ankara, but I mean, I'm happy to move to Istanbul, or I'm about to move to Istanbul soon. You can put it like that. Or just like at the beginning of our session today, I mentioned, if you're having you look like having a dual career, like you did a couple of internships in sales, a couple of internships in marketing, and now you are applying to an exactly different, a job, then you can say a few words about that. The other one, the cliche career objectives, don't really bother, don't really waste your time about that. So okay, so we did all the preparations. We prepared a nice resume. Apparently, the resume, catches the attention of the interviewer. So you are in an interview now. You're invited to an interview. What to do during an interview? Okay, so before the interview, you know, it's good to be a stalker. I don't think it's nice to be a stalker maybe in real life. I see some Instagram posts sometimes. They send me as well, like zero posts themselves, but they're following like 2,000. So they're professional stalkers. But it's good to be a stalker of the person that you are going to be interviewing. And that's for a good reason. That's for us, starting a nice conversation. If you stalk me, let's say, and realize that we went to the same school, or we are from the same city, I don't know, or you just realize that our hobbies are common. I think that's a great opening, because at the beginning of the interview, there's this tense moments that, obviously you are very excited. So, it's a nice icebreaker. If you just say to me that I just realized that you are also running, let's say. And I was like, oh, really? Where did you notice? And then you told me, I saw it in your one of these LinkedIn posts. And then, we start talking, and then it's a nice opening. So do this, right? Do this. Or you can have a question to the interviewer. I just realized that the recent post that you put in LinkedIn says this and that and that. Why did you, why did you stated this and that? I was curious about that. That's also fine. That's a nice, you know, a beginning and an icebreaker as well. So obviously, guys, before you come to the interview, you have to do your homework. And please don't misunderstand me here. I'm not saying that Google, the company, browse in their website, memorize all the information. No, 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 no. I know this information as an interviewer. In my own company, I obviously know a lot about Novartis, let's say. But what I would like to hear from you is really, what is your observation? What do you think? You are on the spotlight. Don't forget about that. Just research the company, down to the finest detail. What are your observations? Like, maybe you see, an information. Maybe you can say that, well, I didn't see that company amongst your, I don't know, the companies that you're working with. Is there a specific reason for that? When you ask me a question like that, it's not only I understand that you do your homework very well, you do the research on the company very well, but you also have a thinking on this, on what you see in the website, let's say. Or maybe you can say that, what do they need according to you, according to your observations? What do they need to become more successful, right? And how can you contribute to that? You can just say it, ask it. It's a nice way of showing your interest, and example of that, you do your homework very well. So you can explain the area where you can make a contribution, and you can surprise them. And don't forget about the competitors as well. Okay, who are the competitors? What are their products? It's very important, right? So I mean, if we're talking about the company, right, how long have they been in the business? What are their main products? you know Recently, are there any controversial news stories about them, maybe? Or what is their culture like? Obviously, you can't really know about all these by just, Googling, but also you can uh, go to LinkedIn. You can go to the posts of the people who are working in this company. That might also tell you something. You can find someone who works there. You can find a relationship. You can talk to them. You can ask them, right? Is this the place you want to go to work every day? I know, especially in economies like us, difficult economies, maybe that question might look like a luxury. Maybe the young people need a job as much as, as quick as possible, and then try to find their ways. But it's also very important, because if the job description doesn't interest you, but if the company is a great, if you don't jump to another place, you are so stuck in this job description as well. So are their values aligned with yours, for example? It's also very, very important, right? So why do you want to work there, and what contributions can you make to the company? These are the questions that you can also ask yourself before you apply for that job as well. So numbers is very important. If you are going to share numbers, know your numbers very well. It's not like, for example, if I ask you what date it was, what year it was, and if you don't go like, it something around 2010 and 2015, I don't really remember. Or if we're talking about, let's say, the business numbers, the figures, and if you are maybe a revenue growth, something like that, and if I ask you, so how much is it? What is the percentage? Don't say it's approximately this. If I remember correctly, it's that. No, know your numbers very well. It's very important that you know your numbers very well. So therefore, study them before you come to the interview, right? Don't limit yourself while you apply for a job, because sometimes, well, obviously when the companies post a job, sometimes they want so much, right? What this, and you know this and that, and sometimes you think like, "Oh, are they going to hire a CEO or something like that?" And sometimes we don't apply for a job just because we're afraid of all of these requirements. I'm not saying that. If there's a technical skill that they are really looking forward, and if you don't have it, don't apply for the role. But sometimes the itsy bitsy details, maybe they request, let's say, the usage of a system. Just just search for it. Maybe you don't know it now, but by the time of the interview, can you learn it? If yes, just apply for the job, because you can do that. That's for sure. So don't limit yourself. By the way, there's also an interesting research about that, is unfortunately the women do it more than men. The women mostly want 100% fit with the job requirements and their CVs, but the men are saying that, yeah, no, I'm just going to apply for that. We'll see about that later, sort of a behavior. And I think it's not very bad, let's say, unless, I'm telling you, unless there's a very specific, for example, if the job requires a very good of written and spoken English, and if you don't know English, well, obviously, don't apply for the role, right? So this is also another question. Is it okay to ask questions? And I'm telling you guys, it's more than okay to ask questions, because asking question also means that you have an interest in the job. Sometimes people are too timid, too shy, and I mean, don't want to look like, I'm talking or I'm asking too much, right? You can ask it, no worries. And sometimes I get the question, is it okay if I say I don't know? Because some questions you don't know all the answers. It's so okay to say I don't know. You can say that I don't really remember that. Is it okay if I just go back to that and write you an email? That's very okay. Don't worry about that. So okay, this is also one of the most important bits that I would like to share with you, is when the interviewer asks you, can you briefly summarize your resume? Can you briefly summarize it? What does that really mean? It's, again, I think most, how do I say it, that wrongly, let's say, understood questions. And I'm telling you, 80% of the people start reading about the resume from top to bottom. It's not the interviewer says, it's not the interviewer wants. The interviewer wants to hear your story from you. Okay, what is your story? It's like the trailers in Netflix, let's say. There's a trailer that you watch the trailer, and then you decide whether you would like to watch that series or movie or not. It's really a nice brief summary which highlights the most important bits of the movie or the trailer. So that's why that's what I want as an interviewer, to highlight the most important things in your life up until now. It could be your accomplishment. It could be something that you are so proud of. It could be this and that. I don't want you to read your CV once again. And sometimes they say that, where should I start from? Should I start from the school or should I start from that? Doesn't matter. It's up to you. Which bit of your life is very important for you that you would like to share, that you make a connection with the job that you are applying for, right? So this is not really reading from top to bottom once again, because the interviewer read your resume already, right? So it doesn't need to hear it again. Again, another very important thing that I would like to share it with you is, what are your weaknesses question. And people freak out like, oh, should I talk about weaknesses in a job interview because I really want this job? Like, what if I say, guys, this question is all about self awareness, right? I don't care about your weakness. I only want to understand if you are self aware of anything, any development area, any weakness that you have. I am not searching for a perfect person, right? So sometimes people say that, believe me, they say that I don't have any. And I was like, really? Really? No, I don't believe this. Right? Or, yeah, you can say that, well, I don't really remember now. It's not also a good answer. So study this. Really. What do you would like to improve in yourself? Right? Just say it. Doesn't matter. They're not going to say that, he has a lot of weaknesses. I'm not going to hire him. It's not that, right? So it's all about personal development. It's all about integrity, you know. So just put it like that in your minds, right? We are not trying to understand what your weaknesses are. Um, so the competency-based interview is I'm going to explain it to you very briefly, and you are going to get it very, very easily. So I promise you that. So competency-based interview. Why does most of the companies do competency-based interview? Because what does a competency-based interview? It's basically when I ask you a question, I want you to answer me with real life evidence, right? I don't want you to answer me the questions like, if that happened to me, I would probably do this. No, I don't want this. What I want to hear from you is that, okay, once something happened like that, that was the situation. That's how I did it, and that was the result. And why do I want the answers like that? Because what you have done before in your life is probably the guarantee that you will do it again. You know, that shows me how you think, how you behave, how you collaborate with these, with what you explain it to me, right? So, like I said, most of the companies, most of the multinationals are still using this interview technique. So, if you haven't heard until now, it's called the STAR. It's very easy. Google it, or chat GPT, it's Copilot, it doesn't matter. You're going to have loads of information about that. But the basic is that all these letters indicate a word. S means situation, task, action, and results. And it's exactly how you should give me an answer to any kind of question, right? To any kind of question. You can give an answer using this flow, right? And I'm just going to share it with you very easily. You can take a screenshot. I think if you can take a screenshot of this is really a good summary. Um, let's say I ask you a question, First start with the situation, describing the context or background of the example that you are going to give in a question. Let's say, in my previous role, our team faced a sudden drop in customer satisfaction scores. Okay, this is the situation. Okay, and then comes And then what did you do about that? Or what was your role about that? Right? That comes here. Task. And then explain your responsibility, or the challenge you need to address. Okay, I was asked with identifying the root cause and improving the scores within 1 month, right? Okay, that is your task, and that is the time you have. Very easy peasy, see? And then you took an action. What did you do to make this happen? Right? So you start describing the specific steps you took to handle the situation. You can say that um, I analyzed feedback data, implemented a new response protocol, trained the support team on empathy techniques, blah, blah, blah. Here, and maybe it's also relevant for our whole session, focus on your contribution, not just the teams, because sometimes people are like, I would like to seen as a team player, and they always make the we sentences. It's very good. So obviously we do most of the things together with some people. We most of the projects we do it with Shebna, but there are specific things that she does herself and I do myself, right? It's so okay to mention about your own contribution in that role, right? Because it's your interview. Don't forget about that, right? So you can what action items you took, and then you can explain what the result is, right? Easy peasy. So whatever question that you're going to be asked, you can always answer the question like that. What was the situation? Right? Okay. What was your task? What you need to do? What steps did you take? What actions did you take? And what was then the result? Right? So if you get this in mind, you know, you can rock most of the interview questions. Don't worry about that. Um, so I'm going to give you a golden tip about that, right? I know that you have great stories, each one of you, right? I know that you have got great achievements in the school, in your internships. You have your own proud moments. But when you are in an interview, if you're not prepared, you forget most of them, or you get a little bit of tense and so on and so forth. So the one thing that you should do when you have time, have an arsenal of stories, right? Or achievement and your proud moments. Just put them in writing because you know I'm sure that these are going to fit in some of the questions that they're going to ask it. But if you're prepared, it's very easy to answer that. If you're not prepared, then you were like, I should have answered this question with this. I forgot about that. And it happens. It's very normal. It's human nature, right? I really like that word about sentence about Kimberly Veal. She says, opportunities present themselves and audiences change from event to event. A story of Arsenal gives you a tool so you aren't staring at a blank page or at the interviewer, right? Instead, you're armed with a story to tell in every situation. Just think about them. What are the stories, achievements, your proud moments? I bet they are going to fit in some of the questions, right? So be prepared with stories that kind of like illustrate your ideas, values, and experiences. Write them down, memorize them, you know, so that when you see a question, when you hear a question, that you can put the story in, just put it in. While you were writing them, also try to write it with the star technique, right? So that then it's easier to give an answer to the interview, because stories, they act as a really strategic toolkit, also in work life as well, right? Stories bond people. When you if you're a good storyteller during a presentation, blah blah, doesn't matter. You know, you are the people are more interested in you, because people put these stories in their brains easier than, I would say, maybe numbers. So it's very important. They make communication more persuasive, memorable, and relatable. They are going to remember you with the story that you are going to tell, right? So this is important. So one of the words that I want you to avoid is perfectionism. And sometimes, by the way, um, they give this answer when I ask, like, what are your developmental areas, or what is a little bit of your weakness? People say this a lot, a lot, and think probably that this is a safe word to say, but well, maybe not. I mean, a very good interviewer, is you can't beat a good interviewer with this word, because perfectionism is not a very strong word. It's not a really positive word at all, because by trying to be perfect, maybe you are avoiding the deadlines. Maybe you are slow. And lots and lots of things may come to our mind. So try to avoid this word. I think it's very cliche, by the way, very cliche. I know you will see it when you Google about this word, but no. So it's very important that not speaking, negatively about the past employer or a teacher or a colleague, because it unfortunately signals poor professionalism and lack of discretion. Because I mean, if you're talking about your, ex-employer or teacher, it's also about the discretion. I can think that, okay, she's or she or he's not really discreet. So try to avoid that. So money is another question that people ask me, like, should I share the amount of salary that I'm expecting? Well, I'm going to tell you one thing is most of the multinational companies, they know what they're going to pay for that job. This is defined because we don't like, okay, let's say if I'm going to give you 5,000 dollars for that position, you telling me that you want 6,000 is not going to change my mind, because there's a mathematic behind it. All of these jobs are evaluated. They have their own places, the pay grades and everything. So this is mostly defined. So you can say that, but you can still, if you want to say, you can say that, well, as per my understanding in this industry, the beginning levels are between this and that, and I am so okay with that range. You can say that. So that's also okay. Only if you know it, right? Only if you did your own research about that, maybe spoken a few friends, and then you can maybe share that, right? Um, so we're about to, complete this session slowly. And then also there are things that you can do after the interview, because most of the people, again, ask me like, should I contact them? Should I send them a message? I mean, would they be bored? No, that's fine. You can write a follow-up email, you know, maybe the day after the interview, like, thank you so much for your time, and you can write a few things about it, like, now I've spoken to you, I've seen you, learned about the role. I'm positive that my skill set and experience is valuable, is for this role, blah blah. If you require anything, please let me know. Thank you. You can send a nice message like that, or even you can do another follow-up email, like, always ask, when should I expect an answer from you? And if I tell you that probably within 3 weeks, and if this 3 weeks has passed and you haven't heard anything, it's also okay to send another email, like, I mean, dear Özlem, I'm still so, excited for the job. You said 3 weeks. Now we're entering the fourth week. How are we doing it? Sort of a follow-up email is also okay, right? So instead of, having a second thought about like, they probably hired someone. Why don't they, reply me, blah, blah, shoot the email. Or, I mean, if there's a number that you can call and do your follow up. So that's all, folks, from my side. Now I'm just going to stop sharing and breathe a little bit and drink a sip of water, and just going to turn to you if you have any questions, comments. There's one, if I'm going to spell it correctly, Zaina.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me clearly?
I hear you clearly. You have a beautiful name.
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank you for this talk because I think it's really important that we, as graduating students, know in detail about how things go. Second, I want to ask how would you advise new graduates that do not have the chance to do an internship while studying, how to structure their resume and what types of things to focus on?
Um, Thank you, Zaina. That's a good question. Well, first of all, I mean, if we have, younger grade students here, I would strongly recommend to do internship. I think it's very valuable. It also kind of like teaches you or gives you the information of what you don't want, even. Maybe you don't find what you really want to do in your life, with a couple of internships, but sometimes you find it, no, that's not what I want to do. So that's very important. But just in case you didn't have a chance to do an internship, I would strongly try to polish the lessons, which lessons you took, maybe the projects that you have submitted, or I would then rod or the extracurricular activities, because that's the best thing that you can do if you don't have an interview. Like, amongst all these maybe lessons or extracurricular activities, where did you reach? Like, maybe you can say that I decided that, let's say, marketing is something that I really would like to see myself. So that's why I'm, applying for that role. If you have, let's say, a lot of nice, good marketing, maybe lessons in the school or during your extracurricular activities, or maybe you didn't study marketing, but you were a part of a marketing club in the school, and then maybe you met a couple of person from the business, and you shared, maybe you joined the case study or something like that, and then you decided that you would like to give it a go. So these are the areas that you can a little bit of polish in your CV.
And what about if you have previous experience, like before university, I used to work, for example, but when I started university, I stopped working. So do you think that's valid as well or not?
Sure, sure, sure. That's valid. I mean, that is very important, because you see, if I'm an interviewer, I mean, I have two people. The CVs are more alike, but one of them, took the time and energy to, work before university. It's really says something about you. And if that work that you have done, let's say, is somehow connected with the position that you're applying, perfect, perfect.
Oh, thank you so much.
Sure. The Dara, I guess. Dara. Dara, my
Yes, hello.
niece's name is Dara as well, by the way.
Oh, really? It's
Yeah,
super
yeah,
rare name. It's so nice to hear it.
yeah, yeah. It's a rare name. Yeah, you're right.
First of all, also, I wanted to thank you very much for very structured and very to the point presentation, because you just answered for all of my questions that I was anxious for a very long time. So thank you very much for very high quality of information. And I have a question about especially the money part, because this is the most hard part for me. For example, I had a few years of experience and a few interviews in my life, but when it comes to the money question, it's always very, very vary from the company to the company. Like as you said, for example, big companies are usually have already like fixed amount, but middle companies or small companies are usually trying to test your how to say your own range and do that as you say, probably like for example from your perspective first, rather than tell you in the first place how much money are they going to give you. So I wanted to ask you how to make this conversation not awkward and not to, I don't know, fail.
So yeah, maybe I would still say, Dara, is probably take the numbers, take the, let's say, the range of the multinationals as a baseline. Because you know how they gather these numbers. They are not coming from out of the blue. So companies like us, we work with consultant companies. The consultant companies look at all of the companies like me, in the sector, and they have this range. Like, for instance, Shebnam's position, people partner position. What is the range in the sector for this position or for myself? So there is this range, and the range is defined looking at, most of the companies in that sector. So that's why if you have an understanding of a range like that, doesn't matter if you're applying for a middle-sized company, you can still say that as per my understanding, as per my discussion with human resources professionals, for a job like that, this is the range in this country, in this sector. So so you can again, open up the conversation like that, because then if I would be a middle-sized company, then I would say that, okay, she knows the top payers, let's say, in the sector, and then it also gives me information. If I'm not going to be able to pay you that amount, then it's also an important indication, right? So if you are fit for a nice multinational company who's ready to pay you that amount, like, why do you go to a middle size or a less one, right? If you know what I mean. So the majority, let's say, in summary, the majority of the companies, the range of the majority of the companies paying should be, I think, also your base range as well. I don't know if that makes sense or if I made it a bit of too complex.
No, it's not. It makes sense totally. So thank you very much. I really needed that information. Thank you.
You're welcome. Aishat?
Hello. So
Hello.
I have a couple of questions, but let me appreciate the lesson. Thank you for the lesson, and thank you for the knowledge, and thank you for your time. So
You're welcome.
I'm outside, so sorry for the noise. I had a couple of questions, but I think you answered it for the first two people. But then I just wanted to add in some more. So you said like extra activities, right? And
Yeah.
well, the second person said like, I mean, as an international student, I'm having a hard time finding a place for internship because of the language barrier. So I really don't have any work experience. But when you said extra activities, what exactly do you mean by that? Can it be anything you do aside from school, or like just it has to be like work experience, internship?
So the extracurricular activities could be somewhere that you are working for. Let's say maybe voluntarily. So you can you are doing maybe a community service. Let's say maybe you are working for a non-governmental organization voluntarily. you could be giving lessons to children, for instance, right? I don't know, Shebnam, feel free to join in, but these are also so important extracurricular activities that you can share if you did.
Yeah.
Shebnam, can you name other ones maybe?
Yeah, of course. Maybe I
Okay.
can give an example from my case, which I had in mind when you were talking about it. So, I decided that I want an internship in human resources, but I was already in my fourth year of university, and the only thing I did was undergraduate research projects. I had a few of them, and I did some volunteering, but nothing related to professional life, let's say. But the first semester of my fourth year, I took a class, what was called organizational psychology, and which is very much parallel to human resources. And also during that semester, I was an undergraduate research assistant for an organizational psychology professor who was abroad, but she was Turkish, and I was helping her online by analyzing the interview questions and doing some analysis, qualitative analysis. And these were the most important things that I brought in interviews when I was interviewing to become an HR, let's say, intern. I didn't have anything that was exactly maybe what they looked for in terms of what I did on day to day, but it was very much enough to show my motivation, and I did things that were kind of in line to be there. And also, I did some volunteering with children, and I also did some tutoring. I taught English to students also. So back when I didn't have any internship, let's say, experience or professional experience, these were the things that I put on my CV. I hope it helps.
I hope, yeah. I mean, does that help, Aisha?
Yes, it helps. And I also have like one more question, please.
Sure.
So I don't want to, I'm studying industrial design. This is my last year. I do not want to pursue a career in that because I honestly realized it's not for me. And I picked an interest in marketing because like she said, I took a course in my third year last year, and I suddenly fell in love because even my lecturer was praising me, and she kept on telling me it would be a good thing for me to pursue a career in marketing. So, and I took just one course. So what do you recommend for me to do? Like, do my master's or like what?
I mean, I don't think masters is a must. You know, most of the companies, Aisha, if they are searching um, for an entry, a junior level entry marketing position, you know, they don't expect much, to be honest. You know, they don't expect, yeah, of course, you know, having some marketing classes in the school might help, an internship might help, but also interest in marketing helps as well. Well, you can write it down in your application like that. You know, this is the one and only lesson I took, which I was so inspired by. So therefore, I really would like to see myself in that. You know, I mean, hope you can give me a chance, right? You know, sometimes that works as well because we don't expect big things, you know, from a fresh graduate. Which we are going to put in a marketing department. We are searching for the character. Again, I'm going back. We are searching for a character, values, and behaviors for especially the young people that we hire, because that means we would like to, you know, hire this young person, and we are going to make him or her grow in that position. We are going to give a lot to her. So that's why, you know, don't feel that I don't have anything so much in my resume about marketing, so they're not going to hire me. No, that may not be the case.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you so much. Have a nice. Thank you.
I think Mohammed has a question.
Yes, so I would like to re-mention an important point from my perspective. Like growing up in a religious environment, I don't like feel comfortable sharing any of my personal life on social media. So will contributing on social media increase my chances in pursuing a certain career?
I mean, personally, I don't think this is very necessary. You know what? There wasn't even a social media, like maybe 10 years ago. So right now, I don't really remember even stalking a person who applied for the job. I don't remember I do that because let's say Instagram is your personal life, you know, is it doesn't really say much about you and your values and behaviors and what you know and your skills right now. Well, LinkedIn is a bit different, right? LinkedIn, if you are working, even now the students are also putting themselves in LinkedIn, but there are few things that they can only put, right? They can maybe join a case study, they can join an internship program in a company. I saw like our interns in Novartis. They want to thank us. They put posts like thanking us for the opportunity, and that's in that. So I don't think that's a prerequisite, but that's me. I'm 52 years old, and maybe I should also ask Shebnem as well. What do you think, Shebnem?
Not really, I don't think so. I mean, I have 30-year-old friends who doesn't have Instagram or any kind of other social media,
Yeah.
and like we don't stalk you on social media, to be honest. I mean, if it's a very specific role that I want to see your personal life somehow, yeah, then maybe, but I've never stalked an interviewee on social media before, ever.
Yeah, right. When we see you in person, we trust you. We trust what you are going to share with us during the interview. That is the information I want, Mohammed, right? That is the information that what you're going to share with us in your resume, you know, your competencies, your strengths, your achievements in life, which you which of these you would like to share with us is enough for us, right?
Tamam, thank you very much.
Yeah, sure. Listen, Zaina is coming back again with another question, I guess.
Yes, I had another question in mind. How would you advise, like, of course, when you recently graduate, you have some fears about not knowing how to do specific things, for example. So, how would you advise to, do you think we should conceal that as fresh graduates or just embrace it in interviews and just say, we don't know how to do this, but we're willing to learn, for example?
Yeah, of course. Of course. I think if you don't know really, saying that I don't know, but I so want to learn it is a better, answer than not knowing but trying to look as if you know it, right? So that's why I wanted to say it's okay to say I don't know, but I want to learn it. I'm happy to learn it, right? Um, or even sometimes, we also have this. Let's say about a technical skill or something like that. Some people don't know, but they try to learn it by themselves because there's a lot of information right now when you Google it, and sometimes they also say that I really don't know, but I just started to learn, let's say on this app, this and that, and that's also a very nice indication about yourself. So yeah, it's okay to say I don't know, because we can't know it everything obviously, especially the new graduates, right? And nobody's expecting, don't forget about that. Nobody's expecting. That's why I'm also saying to my colleagues, when you open a job posting, try to limit the sentences, because when you put a lot of requirements, that scares the young people. Like, oh my God, there's so many things that I need to know and I don't really have it. Like they feel bad about that. So, don't really worry about that. All of these requirements. Always try your chances.
Thank you again.
Sure. So
After her suggestion, I'm going to apply Harvard, guys.
Yay! Yes, Yasemin, you will do it. And
No, I'm
looking for,
serious. Wow, yeah.
yeah, yeah, I'm serious too. And I'm looking forward to hearing good news from you.
Yeah.
Right?
We have one more
Uh,
question, I think, on the chat box. Then we can move on to
oh,
competency-based interview, I guess.
sure. Let
Yeah,
me go.
Dara. Yeah, Dara is
I don't
asking.
see it, by the way, but probably
Okay,
you see it.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm reading now. Dara says, I apply for a few position internship and text and reach out some departmental leads in those companies for some advices and etc. But do you think reaching the HR or recruiter department is good or annoying?
That's Shebnam. Let me ask Shebnam first. Do you think it's good or annoying?
Yeah, I think it's always welcome that you reach out like right after interview or after some time pass, or you already applied but you want to make sure that they see your application. That's all good. I think it's just important that you use the right language, you use the right channels. For example, I would rather you don't really, even if you have my phone because it's in my signature and when I emailed you, it shows there. I'd rather you don't text me, but just email me, or like instead of calling me, maybe emailing me, or you can text me on LinkedIn and just don't just make it maybe very pushy, or just try to be as kind as possible and just try to highlight your motivation, really, that you really want the job. And that's very much appreciated.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer, Shebnam. Yeah, also they do it. Sometimes they find me in Instagram, and also sending me messages from Instagram as well. Okay, that is not really the right channel,
I agree.
and or maybe even having the phone number. WhatsApping someone at 8 o'clock at night is also not a good idea. But you know about this probably.
Yeah.
This is the basic rules. But I mean, no, it's not annoying as long as, just like Shebnam did, you did from the right channel with a nice approach. It's always welcome because
The right
you
time,
know
as you mentioned. Yeah.
exactly because we know it. We also applied for some roles in the past. We also waited, excited about getting an answer. So that's why we can make an empathy. So yeah, don't worry about that.
Yeah, you're not annoying then, Dara. I agree. Okay,
No,
thank you
no,
very
no, no,
much.
no.
Yeah, for all the
No.
question. Of course, I will be thankful a lot, many, many times to our guest speakers, of course. But I think now on, we may move on to the competency-based interview part.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we prepared a couple of questions for the ones who just wanted to try out. It's just amongst us, you see. Nothing to be excited about, really, nothing to be feared. Is you know, if just a couple of questions and try to give the answers with the STAR techniques, right? Um, for the ones who
Hmm.
would like to try out, Shebnam is kind enough to also join us today to help us with this part. Any volunteers?
I will just share. Okay, good. Dara is already
Oh
prepared,
yes,
I guess.
Dara, Zaina, very good. We already have
Very good.
2, 3. Mariam also would like to try. Perfect. So
Perfect. I just reminded the question on the chat box, guys. There are 4 questions, so we will start with the first question. If you want, I can repeat it again. And how do you want, Shabnam?
To me, I think when I normally have interviews, I didn't have much in Novartis for internship, but when I did, I made sure that they had the questions beforehand. And during the interview, I told them you can start from any question because,
Ah,
people can be
okay.
very excited or there's something that they really want to highlight. And if they do, I don't want to miss it. So just in case we use our time very wisely, I make sure that I give them the chance to start with what they want, so that would be okay.
Okay, perfect then. So we may start with Dara. So then, and then we continue with Zaina and Mariam, and we need the 4th person for the 4th question. I mean, since we have 4 questions, I guess, I believe. So now on, again, the floor is yours.
Perfect. Hi, Dara. So normally when I start the interview, I know your CV, I know your background, I know which role you're applying for. I know the company, and so I would first start with asking about you, and then perhaps I would try to understand how much you really know about the company and the role and the department, and how motivated you are towards them, and then how we can contribute. But this time we will just make it very short, and I will just ask by asking you to kindly introduce yourself in a few sentences, maybe not more than 2 minutes, if it's okay.
Yes, thank you very much. It's so nice to have this opportunity. If I'm gonna tell about myself, then I'm studying right now as a third year student of cartoon animation department, and also taking game design minor. So I'm basically focused more on game design and visual development, but right now I'm testing myself and studying into more product management into games and game industry. I had previously 2 years experience of working as product manager in educational field, and also was leading a few projects. And also I was a teacher of arts for a year and a half. So that's my background.
Thank you very much for that, and thank you very much for your time for the interview. Which question do you want to start with?
Probably the first one, I guess.
Okay. Just let me repeat it just in case someone hasn't had a chance to read it before. It was, can you give an example of a disagreement you experienced during a project or group work, and how did you resolve it? Please go ahead.
Okay, so out of the role play, I know nothing how to answer to this question, so I'm gonna try to improvise. Okay, so for example, I had a big project, university one, group project for animated film that we had to do in our semester. And I had a very great teammates, but at some point we had a problem about visual development part. For example, one of my teammates who were also responsible for some of the visual direction, same as me, we had kind of the same role, was having a disagreement about the art style and that we wanted to choose. I wanted to get 3D, he wanted to get 2D, and that was our disagreement. And we had a discussion about it actually for a long time. And we decided to make a research about our goal. For example, our main goal at this moment was to get as many attention as possible, since it was a YouTube project. And I tried to solve this problem by making a research about the user retention about 2D graphics and 3D graphics, what would be more beneficial for our main goal. And after the long research that we did, and also a few recommendations from our professors, we decided to stop at 3D. So yes, so we had a very great conversation with my classmate, and we agreed both on that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. What I hear is that you first appreciated, I mean, I wouldn't give this real-time feedback during a normal interview, but since now we're just learning all together, you appreciated your group mates at first, which was great, and then you explained the problem clearly, and then you showed me that the solution you brought was you brought in data, which is very important. You did an analysis, and then this led to the decision, and you just didn't use one source and you use multiple sources, which is great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I actually think it's a very good answer too, because think about it. What is the purpose of this question? What is the purpose of this question? Disagreement. Obviously, I would like to understand, in case of a disappointment, how do you react? What steps do you take? It's all about really trying to understand again the values and behaviors of you, obviously, and you explained it. I think very good. I also like that as well. Congratulations. Always think, huh, guys?
Thank you very
Always
much.
think, what is the purpose of this question? What does the interviewer is trying to learn? Always think about that for the next questions as well.
Usually it's not that complex. Usually it's actually straightforward when you think about it. Yeah. Zaina, I think.
Yes.
Hi, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. Would you be
Thank you.
able to tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yes, of course. I'm Zaina Qubaisi. I'm Lebanese. I'm a fourth year student in business administration, and I'm looking more into specializing in the marketing department. I have background in event planning assistance and volunteering work for kids activities, and yeah, that's all, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Which question would you like to start with?
I would like to start with the fourth question.
Okay, let me say it out loud for those who haven't had a chance to hear it before. Could you walk me through a recent complex data analysis you performed? Where did you start? What steps did you follow? And how did you interpret the results?
Okay, so recently I had a group project where we worked on a project to analyze market data to compare two countries for a marketing strategy for an FMCG product. And I started by defining the objective and understanding what differences we had in the economic and consumer behavior factors. Then I collected data from sources which are credible and made sure for the data to be consistent. And then I organized the data into specific categories, used the basic, I'm sorry, used the basic statistical comparisons and visual looks and looked for patterns and contrasts. And then I interpreted the results by linking the data back to real world examples to make it realistic. And for the marketing decisions such as pricing and market potential. And this overall process helped our team to make it more realistic and clear, and of course, data supported recommendations.
Thank you very much. It was very chronological. You started where you had to start. You gave me the context, and then you described especially the effect that it had, the effect on the decision, which was great. Maybe I would have also wanted to hear about the specific resources because, I mean, you said it was a marketing research and you gave me the topic. So if it's not super technical, maybe I would also have a chance to evaluate if the resources really went well with the topic and how helpful they could be. But considering that I'm not a very technical person in the area that you're applying for, maybe that would be optional, but it's just one thing that I had in mind. Thank you very much again.
Thank you as well.
Mariam, I think.
Yes. Hello.
Hi, welcome. Nice to meet
Thank
you.
you. Nice to meet you as well.
Can you
Um,
introduce yourself, please?
Yes, of course. My name is Maria. I'm a second year computer engineering student at Washisha here. My background is kind of different from I aim for web development marketing, but my background is kind of towards into art and photography. Right now I am trying to learn more about programming because I want to be a web developer. That's why
You want to be able
started
to, sorry?
be a web developer.
You want to
And
be able to be
specialize
a
in that,
web
yes.
developer.
So
Yeah.
my current studies right now are just learning.
Okay. Thank you very much. You mentioned a little about marketing. I couldn't really catch it because you're studying computer science. Your
To
background is
be
in art.
into that marketing, I mention it in that way.
I'm
as in
sorry, can you?
market-wise. Like
Oh,
market-wise to be, I was a web developer.
oh, okay, okay. Market-wise, I thought it was marketing. Okay, thank you very much. Which question do you want to continue with?
I think I was assigned the third, like the third one. I can go with the third one. I don't mind.
Okay, okay, let me read it then. Have you ever encountered an unexpected change or obstacle while carrying out a task under your responsibility? How did you handle it?
Well, it was during the university. I had a group presentation. It was two people, and I faced two unexpected obstacles during the process. First, my partner wanted to make the presentation very detailed, and I'm type of person, and it wasn't really. I don't really find that professional, which to be having it there as pointing the key points instead of having it paragraphs. But so I suggested to make the detail part put in the notes instead. And so we can keep the presentation clear because my part would only be key points, his part would be paragraph. So he agreed to that. The obstacle we faced as a result that my partner didn't show up on the presentation day, and I wasn't informed in advance about that. Kind of a stressful person when it comes to this because I want everything to be perfect and everything. But I stayed calm and I adjusted myself immediately. I presented my part and everything as planned. And then I covered my partner section as well, but I used like the key points to avoid mistakes because I didn't want to make it risky going into details. And I managed it with the timing as well. I got 95. It was the highest, so it was kind of fair. I was kind of glad of that. So in the end, yeah, that was how it happened.
Thank you. Congratulations. That's,
Thank
I
you.
think, a very good example because like you had an objective, you wanted the presentation to be uniform and also more understandable, because it's in general very much better to present the key points in presentation instead of paragraphs. So you knew that and you took initiative and asked your friend and then you persuaded him, which was great. And then you brought in another obstacle. It also went well, so congratulations for that. Thank you very much. That was a very valuable
you.
example. Maybe in the end, I would also add like one sentence of the effect on the results and like maybe like close strongly also, just as a comment. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very
Can
much.
can I add something on that? Because again, guys, what is the purpose of the question? Again, change management. What is the question? It says, what do you do, when something changes unexpectedly? And probably you are going to face this question a lot because this is the important competency that most of the companies are searching for, how do you cope with the changes? Because everything is changing right now. The decision which has been taken in the company, we may change it in even in 3 months or in a year's time. The organization changes, the product range changes, everything. So are you a kind of person who is a little bit of statu quo? You can easily change and adapt to new ways of working or new decisions. So be careful about that question, right? Be mindful about that question. And that's why I think the addition that Shebna wanted to do is very valuable. Like, how do you close it? Because what did you learn about that experience? How does that make you feel? If you try to link it with one of your maybe competencies, that would be great as a result, right? Thank you so much. But guys, you don't need us, huh? All of these answers that you're going, you don't need us at all. Huh? Let's close it, huh? Let's jump into the weekend.
Yeah. Thank you. Aishat? Are you able
Yes,
to?
hello.
Okay. Hi, welcome again.
Okay,
Can you please tell
thank
us a
you.
little bit about yourself?
Hello everyone. My name is Aisha Hamza Gataboy. I'm in my final year of industrial design. I'm an international student from Nigeria. I'm 23 years old. Yep, that's, I guess, basically it.
Okay, Thank you very much. I feel like we have just one question left. Would you like to answer that?
It's the fourth question, right?
No, actually, I feel like we
I
got
can
the
pick.
fourth, but maybe the second, or do I recall mistakenly? Anyone can chime in now.
No,
Well,
no,
I thought I
second.
could
You're
like
right.
pick a question.
I think you can, the
Okay.
one that you feel more comfortable with.
Yes, I think I
Because
would.
because then I see Umar. So Umar can also choose one of the
Yeah.
ones who has we already answered as well. Because it's all about practice, right?
Okay. So I would like to pick number one, the first one.
Sure. About a disagreement you experienced during a
Yes.
project or group work.
Yes. Shall I go on?
Please, please.
Okay, so during a design research group project, we had to work in a team of 6 people, and we had a disagreement because everyone wanted the easier job to do, so which would make it unbalanced. So we had to come together because we had a limited time and we had to resolve it because I think it was 14 days. So we resolved it. I wasn't the one that resolved it. We did it together. So we came together and then we shared our weaknesses and strength, what we were good at. So we tried to balance it by like picking our strengths and what we were good at, and that's how we came to a conclusion basically, and we resolved it and we were able to get a very good grade and we did it on time.
Thank you. I think that's also a great example. And because knowing your strengths and then knowing how to use them and when to use them, how to use them, it's a great skill, not even when you're just starting professional life, even when you're in the middle of it, towards the end, it's always important because it's not something that everyone does and knows and utilizes. So it's great that you were aware of it when you were during your group project. So thank you very much for that. Is there anything else you want to elaborate?
Thank you. Not really, to be honest.
Okay.
Not really. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And Ömer now. Hi, Ömer.
Hello, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so I would like to answer the second question.
Okay, perfect. Do you want to introduce yourself first?
Okay, my name is Ömer Shimi. I'm Egyptian, but I have Turkish origins, and I study here in Bahçeşehir University as physiotherapy, and I'm in the second year, so that's all, and I'm 20 years old.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Do you want to go ahead with the question? But maybe I should just summarize what it says first. Could you describe a time when you noticed an error or mistake in a project or task you were working on and explain the steps you took to correct it?
Yeah, actually, I don't know if like this trial I did a trial at not actually a job, but like something like I saw an advertisement on the internet about like acting agency. They needed people like to act in historical series and films as like comparse or something light and not very heavy or something like it's very, as you can say, superficial. So I went to their place. So then they took me like they told me that you will sign a paper like an contraction or agreement about the acting. And then after I signed, I realized that they made me sign on another thing that hasn't any relations with acting, like something else that I realized that they scammed me. So I tried to like to delete this confirmation or contraction about the other thing. Like then up till now, I'm going next week to try to delete it again. So I don't know, like something
wow.
hard.
Okay. Well, best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing. It's very important that you want to share that with us, and how quickly you realized that there was something wrong with it, and then you took an action.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you want any feedback?
No, thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I think no hands up. I think we covered all the questions. If you have maybe any questions popping up later on, or any, how can we, help you, support you in the last minutes, let's say, maybe. There's a question, I think, from Meg.
Yes, so if you don't mind, I have a last question. I would be really grateful if you could shed some information about face expressions while interviewing.
Mhm.
Yeah, actually, body language is a gem. I think it's very important. Unfortunately, now most of the interviews are kind of like not really face to face, but via the Teams or Zoom or everything. But you can still work on that. If you ask me, I would highly recommend all of you to take a lesson on body language from I don't know, Udemy or Coursera. I don't know if Bahçeşehir University has a connection with any such, but there are great, I think, content in there, because it really matters a lot, how your face expressions, your hands, like, for instance, a hand, why do we shake hands? They say that it's really about coming to our cave days, let's say, a man's cave days. Why do we shake hands, or why do we say hi? Why do we show our palms? Because it's about security. It's about saying that I'm not an enemy, because I'm showing you my hands, that I don't have any weapon with me, sort of a thing. So also it says about a lot about the handshake. Let's say if you are face to face, when two people shake hands, it says that a bonding sort of a hormone is what you have in your body starts. So there are very different, I think, information that you can learn from it. But in the interview, obviously, it's very important um, to have to be clean, let's say, to have a shower, have a decent hair, have a decent, shirt, very clean. Doesn't matter what brand it is, what color it is, but, a nice lightning, maybe, I would say, do these technology checks before you even log in, let's say, a nice lightning. And, just as if you are face to face, even if it's online, uh, a nice smile, gives the energy, and then it's even a good start. But please, please, if you listen to me, I would say go get these two actually trainings. One of them is body language, and the other one is elevator speech. I think elevator speech is a very important, let's say, a content, a tool that you can use it. Elevator speech teaches you how to summarize your ideas, right? It's very essential in work life. So, yeah, just go into Udemy, Coursera. I know I checked these trainings, very good content. Please do it, right? I don't know if that's sufficient, Mohammed.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you have a very nice voice. Like, your voice sounds like you're smiling. The energy gets into me. I think this is important.
Okay,
Very
thanks a
good
lot.
parent. Also, by the way, Özlem Hanım, and all the students, next week, as you mentioned, I'm very grateful that you mentioned elevator speech that I also didn't know. For the body language part, next week is our last week before the presentation. So actually, in part of our lecturing, we will have body language section as well.
Perfect.
Plus, during the presentation, I will like humbly try to analyze and write it down, their body language, how do they react, what kind of body language they have used. So yeah, that's actually a good question, because actually you're going to be graded through your body language as well. So yeah, thank you.
All right. There's a great company in US. If you Google it, Science of People, and please follow her. What was her name? I forgot about her name right now, but she does a lot of content on body language. Science of People. Just log in and follow her. She has great content. She has great videos and trainings. You can also make use of that as well. I also had a lot of trainings from her a couple of years ago. So she's the best, I guess.
Very good to hear. Okay, I take note as well.
So
Any other questions?
are we ready to jump into weekend?
By the way, for the seninle olur, as you mentioned, the program name, maybe you may, if you have the link, you may share it with the chat box as well, so they will be seeing now, or
Yeah.
at least it will
Vietnam,
be.
I don't, for some reason, I don't have I
Same.
don't see chat box. Can you do
Same.
that?
I'm not able to write anything on the chat.
Okay.
What I
Oh,
can do,
you're not really?
I can
Oh,
share with Yasemin Hocam through email, maybe.
okay, that would be
Yeah.
great. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that would be great. For the unfortunately only for the Turkish speakers.
Mhm.
We are starting it first time, so it's going to be Turkish for this year, and maybe next year we can do some courses in English. But this year, unfortunately, it's all going to be Turkish. For the Turkish speaking ones, feel free to check the site and apply for it. The applications are still open.
Okay. I just sent the email. Maybe
Is
now,
it?
maybe later.
Okay, yeah, sure. Whenever you're available, I will be sharing with them as well. Okay, I think you just sent it to me.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Here, okay, I'll just başvuru linki. Okay, I'm now sharing on the chat box. Great. Okay, I think we are done. Are you happy, guys? Send our hearts to our guest speaker, please. They deserve even more.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I thank you, really, guys. Being here, keeping your attention. It's an afternoon in a Friday. It really shows your attention and your respect to the subject. So I really want to thank you all. Yeah.
And the
And wish
actually
you all
number
good luck.
increased instead of decreased, Özlem Hanım, since the beginning. It always
Oh,
increased.
That's,
So no one
that's
dropped
very
out,
nice.
but people came in.
Exactly. Yeah.
We are so lucky. And, guys, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can just, follow us from LinkedIn. And, if you have any questions later on, you can always shoot. We'll do best to support you.
Okay. Then hope we are keeping touch again for the upcoming semester as well, or anything that we can do together.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Good luck, guys, and Happy New Year. Let's say.
Oh yeah, Happy
Yeah.
New Year. But we are still okay together.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Right.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
See you then. Bye, everyone.
See you. Bye. Anything? Any question? Okay, wait.
Hi,
You don't
Pooja.
go. You don't go. Wait. Last announcement. Last. As you heard me next week will be our last lecturing. In this lecturing, we're going to talk about effective presentation skills plus. I will try to show you some tips before the presentation, how you should be prepared. Okay. Plus, I will be adding because we haven't complete one more or two more self-assessment. It's about, if I'm not wrong, self-immediacy, including body language actually. So we will also look a bit about the body language as well. And then we will going to have last 3 weeks will be presentation. And I will be sharing now in the chat box, I mean, not in the chat box, in the group, your presentation dates. Clear?
Hello, Hujam. Can I ask something?
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Zehra, you're asking, I guess.
So I understand that the order is ready, right?
Yeah, the order is ready.
Okay, I have a request if it's possible. So I'm a dentistry student and there are my friends on this class who are in dentistry also. If there's a list, can we please be the first ones to present, please? Because my friend also mentioned last week, I think, she said that our holiday starts at 2nd of January and ends at the start of February. So we won't be here, and she's also going to her home country. So it will be really good. But if it's not possible,
It is Zehra. Actually, what I will tell you, if you want to change it to the first week or the second week, it is okay. But generally, if you ask me the vice versa, it's the worst scenario because some people, unfortunately, by the way, I'll do that. But the plus, I will let you know if you're not appeared in your presentation week, okay, when I announce your team. And if you come not on time, for example, if you come on the third week, definitely there will be penalty. Okay, that will be I have to decrease your grade. But of course, now on I will be planning. Now we are going to plan together. So then that's okay. But if I share it and if after that you never let me know about what's happening and you don't appear, then that's a fatal mistake. Okay. So but yes, in that situation, your actually query is actually logical. It's okay because you want to do it first. Okay. Zehra, could you please you can write me on the private chat box, by the way, your name and your friend name, so I will be looking at that. Okay.
okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hamra.
Yes, Pooja, I have a question about the Coursera.